This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jake Clifton Payne, and whether you're watching us live, it's produced as at 5:30 a.m. on this Thursday, the 12th of December, on a replay somewhere down the line. We thank you for joining us. We've got a bit of a cough. Things You Might Have Heard is here in the queue today. 8 news stories from yesterday that you deem as conversational. So we're talking about the stories you think are worthy of chatting up, not just what the headline news is. And yes, we are going to start off with Luigi Mangione. That's what's taking over everything. But other stories that were conversational that should get some love, including stories covering information, politics, current events, and public news. But particularly Justin Trudeau and Jim Carrey, a story that I didn't think was get much love, and I posted late yesterday and went ahead and talked about it. We're talking about it, and it's tariffs again with Trudeau. So we're going there again. We'll explain the vetting process, explain how the headlines get in here in a bit. So we can hang on to that when we get to the teaser story part. But remind you that our website home is thisconversationproject.com for all details about us. You can vet us as well by going to the website and following all the calls to action that we give you all over the place. Plus, emailing us with your comments, concerns, and any sort of criticism at the conversation inbox. I already said it, but I'll say it one more time. It is Thursday, the 12th of December in 2024. That means you have 13 days till Christmas. Don't forget it. Don't mess it up. You've got to make this happen. But today, focusing on yesterday's news to get you through today, if you will. No particular order as the story is being put out there. This stage story came out here in the narrative that we discussed, and we are going to get up close to an E rating a bit later, so bear with us. We're going to get extremely nasty, extremely dirty. One, just trigger warnings, I should say, sexual assault. We're bringing up Diddy again, and one is just extreme sex. But going back to our heyday of talking about OnlyFans, because the OnlyFans story showed up, and I could not resist. But right now, we've got to talk about it because this is a story that's a simple story. One man shoots another man in the middle of the street and disappears and is found 3 or 4 days later. This happened literally a week ago yesterday. So this is still relatively fresh in the work. They found him a lot faster than I think people thought they were going to, or in fact, they found him at all in some places. And now they have proof, even though his lawyer says he hasn't seen anything, proof or something at least proof that the man is the man. Now the headline reads: Fingerprints match between Luigi Mangione and prints found at scene. UnitedHealthcare CEO killed. So this is where I'm going to get myself in some bit of trouble because of the Robin Hood we deserve sort of mentality. Man, but per facts, per crime work, per CSI New York, the actual CSI New York, forensic evidence has found a link between Luigi Mangione and the actual murder or being of CEO Brian Thompson. Fingerprints that Mangioni's were discovered on the Kind bar wrapper and the water bottle found near the crime scene in Manhattan. So the water bottle and the energy bar that we talked about very, very much, which were found, his DNA or his fingerprints should be there. I'm trying to look for DNA as well. 3D printed firearm recovered from Mangioni's upon his arrest in Pennsylvania has matched shell casings at the scene. So they tested the gun, and it seems to fire from that gun. There we go. Shell casings, of course, had the words deny, defend, and depose on them. Not sure if you only had 3 bullets or many that were written on them, but it is basically what the story goes and why people are sort of joining in on this sort of merry band of we love this guy. Now, there's a merry band of we love this guy. There's a big merry band of we love this guy. And every time I've talked about this story, and I'll probably post this clip as well, there are a lot of people who are saying he's innocent. Doesn't look so much innocent. He's yelling and screaming and saying things like he wanted this to happen because he wanted the attention, because now he wants the attention. So that tells me he's not innocent. And while I have no problem with people who want to put money on his book so he can get the trial he needs, probably deserves a great trial, that's not a problem. All the people who are saying I want to be his alibi, I want to marry him, have his children. You guys, this is a man, as we see some man in evidence, in video evidence, walked in the street and fired a gun in the back of somebody's head. Doesn't matter what he did, what he said, who he is. He was murdered in a premeditated manner because one person thought he was aggrieved and went it to the extreme. That is the truth. That is what happened. That is where we are right now. How we move past this, I have no idea. This coincides with the acquittal of Daniel Penny, who, on that case, there's a man who took that matter into no hands, and people agreed for mistrial in one case, but agreed to acquit him of that because they said it was for the safety of what's going on. However, the safety that was going on meant the death of another person. Was it really worth the death of another person for the safety? Is the message that the healthcare system sucks really worth this guy shooting the guy in the back and making us worry about some sort of weird government conspiracy or some sort of Mission Impossible style killing going on for this thing? It just seemed like a randomish event from a guy who was aggrieved and used the UnitedHealthcare, which may or may not have been his actual service for healthcare, as his target, and used a very public and very just obvious place to take this thing out. To take this thing out, we can keep talking about it. The fact is, the U.S. healthcare system is trash. That is true. People at the top make more money than they probably should, which is true in many of these things. Record profits, the margins for healthcare is around 3 4%. So record profits is also sort of debatable, but no one deserves this right here. Do we deserve Canada as America's hat? We shall see soon. As Trudeau says, Americans are realizing Trump's tariffs on Canada would make life a lot more expensive. I've actually covered this in a video that I posted 2 days ago because I posted it, in the middle of the night for yesterday's viewing. And I didn't think it'd actually pull up that much weight, but oh boy, people are starting to reply to the video, and oh boy, is the weight actually coming up to the responses in this actual link. Now, of course, Trump has proposed 25% tariffs on Canada and on Mexico, and of course, extra 10% on top of what's going on right now in China. We're not going to worry about China or Mexico at the moment. We're just talking about Canada as our neighbor to the north. Now, Trudeau spoke at a Chamber of Commerce meeting about what happens with tariffs, because we've talked about this many times. Tariffs raise the prices on goods coming into a entity, a country. So the country that brings them in has to pay more. That means the goods from Canada cost more to come in, so the goods from America or any other place with less tariffs would be more attractive. The problem is they don't worry about attractiveness. They raise their prices too, so everything comes out on the wash. Basically, everybody's making more money regardless. Crude oil, electricity and gas, steel and aluminum, agricultural products. These are four of the main things that we get from Canada, and a lot of them from there. So with that, adding that that tariff will make those things cost more. Of course, Trudeau said these things in front of his Canadians, and of course, that's when Trump called Canada the 51st state. Priorities. Here is a warning for this next story. It's extremely graphic. I'm not going into graphic details, but this is a big, big deal. We're dealing once again with Sean Combs. An accuser spoke out about a all-white party that he had, the famous ones, and a male anonymous video detailed the sexual allegations. CNN did an interview with a man who had an encounter with him back in 2016, 2006, 2007, and there's some debate on whether they stated it properly. But a male accuser identified as John Doe claims that in 2007, while working as a security guard at one of Combs's parties in the Hamptons, one of the white parties, he was sexually assaulted by music mogul. He was drugged, taken to a car, and then sexually assaulted. Um, you have to basically click the link to read the story or listen to the actual video itself and take it in for yourself. You be the judge of the incident. The man came out recently, basically saying that this thing happened back in 2007. He was married at the time. He was embarrassed to tell anyone. He's now divorced. He now has nothing to lose. Hearing that the allegations coming from the people, the underage children coming in, brought him I guess you can say, the courage, he says, to actually come out and do this. Diddy's people are, of course, denying the action, basically saying when they first actually filed the court case, there was inaccuracies in what was recorded. They filed it as 2006. He said 2007. There's other things that weren't, didn't quite jive. They changed the court filing so that it matched what he just said. So we'll see if that really makes a deal. There will be plenty of people in this case coming out of woodwork who are trying to grift and get their stuff out of it. I am not judging this one because I can't really tell. It's an anonymous guy doing a hit for TV that needs to hit for TV. They have their own issues. They'll get screwed over if they find out this guy screwed them over, and it will happen. If it's true, it just brings up the monster aspect of this issue with Sean Combs even worse. Full disclosure, I was a shareholder of SiriusXM. I am no longer at the moment, or at least will be in a few hours when my actually sale goes through, but I will buy more at the lower price. That being said, I've held SiriusXM stock for maybe 15 years. And I bought some way back when it was really expensive, bought some in the recent years when it was less expensive because it lost money and it's still losing me money. But this is not really great from shareholders' point of view, but it is what it is. I'm down with SiriusXM, so I'm going to buy more shares. This is what the story is, why I'm bringing this up right now, so you don't think I'm just dumping and doing whatever. SiriusXM to cut $200 million in costs, pivot resources away from streaming. SiriusXM Holdings Incorporated is implementing a $200 million cost reduction plan in 2024, like right now, focusing on reallocation resources, programming and marketing, and customer service. The initiative will follows a previous $100 million savings achieved through organizational restructuring in the past couple months. Back in February, they cut the workforce by 3%. That's 160 employees for flexibility and efficiency. A later one happening or early one happening in March of 2023, 475 people. Losing people in the marketing department, losing people in the audio department, losing people in various places as they're moving away from some of the streaming stuff. They're going to go deeper into podcasts, which technically is streaming, with things like bringing in big time names, get people on their networks, and like the Smartless podcast, offering it up early to subscribers to SiriusXM before it's released in the mainstream media. They don't stop it from being in other places, but you get first access there. Much like your exclusive access to things like Howard Stern, you get it from there. But right now, a lot of debt load, net debt of almost $11 billion, net debt adjusted EBITDA of about 4.0. They generate free cash flow. They actually make money about $1 billion a year. So they make money, just not enough to cover their debts. I'm a diehard SiriusXM satellite listener, radio listener in the car. I stream it in various places where I'm out sitting down some places. I sit at my desk and listen to my Arcanish stream on my computer. So this is something that I listen to because I've basically given up on my local radio station. So I love them. What they provide for me is whatever. But yes, as complaints went on, yes, it is true. The commercial load on the talk stuff is really loud, and it can be commercials that pop up in the music stuff. When they do have commercial stuff, it's really, really terrible. Commercial load is what it is. That's how they make their money, not just straight from subscriptions. Since every time you try to cancel, they'll give you a deal on that one. SiriusXM is what it is. I will be buying it more at the lower price and riding it for a better ride. But right now, it is about 90% lost value since I bought the last share. So maybe the rebound will come forward with this one, or maybe I'm just a sucker for SiriusXM. 4 more stories on the way, but first, we are pausing to try to get a little bit of help from you guys. We want to get a better footprint across the internet, the world, if you will, with what we produce here on the internets. This show here, you're seeing this produced. If you're watching me live, we're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on YouTube. You may be watching, you may watch clips a bit later on in various other places. You may watch other news articles that we do throughout the day. So, what we need you to do to help us grow, because growth helps me ask you for less dollars, is to like what you're watching. If you enjoy what you're seeing, like it. It's that simple. Just click a like button on the video here, and this video here, or the videos we produce. The world will see that we're producing fairly good stuff. The algorithm may agree with you and put out to more people, and those people see that may click on it and like it as well. If you like it as well. It also lets me know that I'm doing the right stories, the right things for you guys here. Share it with other folks who enjoy this type of news because they like getting news that's a bit in depth, things that are off the beaten path, things are being missed out because we're all talking about Luigi Mangione. We're all talking about him, but the other stories like we're talking about here are getting missed. And subscribe if you're not currently subscribed. So don't miss out on a minute. Whether you're going to see this when live notifications come in and watch this bright and early in the morning or watch it later, it'll be in your feed for you to check out whenever you're ready for it. Did you know that Kimberly Guilfoyle and Donald Trump Jr. have actually broken up? Donald Trump Jr. actually has a whole nother girlfriend, and that's one story. But the rumors and innuendo of this headline is they're trying to bury Kimberly for bigger thought processes. Let me say the headline and then let me explain. Trump to nominate Kimberly Guilfoyle for ambassador to Greece. The president-elect has offered the nomination to former Fox News host and ex-fiancee of Donald Trump Jr., to Kimberly Guilfoyle to go to Greece and be the ambassador going forward. Now, these things as ambassadors, some of them are pretty cushy. This one seems like a really cushy job. You know, she may actually get some work done and do some actual dignitary-ing, Hanging out in Greece and representing the United States is great. She has a background in law, media, and politics. She served as vice chairman of the Pro-Trump Political Action Committee, a Pro-Trump Political Action Committee, and expressed gratitude towards that and waits for Senate approval. So she's happy for this. Now, questions come about her lack of diplomatic experience, which is fine. Some view that her appointment is political maneuvering to avoid public awkwardness because she broke it with Donald Trump Jr., which is where people are going with this. And maybe when that is cleared, Donald Trump can anoint whoever his successor will be in politics, whether it be son Jr. or other people who are waiting in the mix who want their shot because they've been doing this job for a while and are ready to take that step. We shall see. Neither Guilfoyle or Trump Jr. has publicly commented on the relationship status of the nomination, but as I say, Trump Jr. has been seen out in public with another fairly connected woman connected to power and politics who's doing her thing and dating DJT Jr. Here's a triumph for this woman. And WNBA star Caitlyn Clark has been named Times Athlete of the Year. The Indiana Fever stand-up guard, and of course, we took her team in Iowa to a second championship game. Lost that one as well. She is now your Athlete of the Year via Time Magazine for 24. Great year for the Hawkeyes, although they didn't quite get it done. Great year for the Fever, although they didn't quite stay very long. The top pick in the WNBA draft, and of course, just bringing headlines and bringing eyeballs to the WNBA and to women's basketball for the NCAA level as well. Of course, the media portrayal of a relationship with fellow player Angel Reese, bringing up the now mutual respect, but was forced, the force of them basically hating each other in college, has been part of the glamour and closet of glow of this one. But the privilege as a white athlete is something that actually Caitlyn has acknowledged many, many times, highlighting that the fact that she has been led, taught, and is a member of a larger body and advocating for a lot of folks of color, a lot of folks of less privilege, a lot of folks who don't get the limelight to get some, and sharing as much as she can with her teammates and the people around her. Thank you very much for being a stand-up person. It's all great for you. We will see what happens in the next upcoming year for the Fever this season coming up for the Hawkeyes and women's basketball, and whether the eyeballs from last year and prior year in college will continue to watch the game. And I'll say this out loud, start paying for the women's game because there are issues. The money disparities come from the fact that the women's game doesn't make enough money. I say enough. You may say same amount or a good amount. I say they don't make enough. Getting graphic again. Bear with me for this one. This goes back to our roots and basically posting all the OnlyFans articles we can because they bring in eyeballs and clicks. This one did. This one's a bit gross. This one, even after I went through it, it's like maybe I should have went there. You engaged in it. We're going to talk about it. This is definitely something Anderson Cooper is not going to talk about. So, woman who slept with 100 men in one day breaks down in tears as she reveals what happened. Now, let me actually throw this out there too. Also, I'm probably on some sort of watch list because it took literally 15 minutes for ChatGPT to give me any sort of rundown that gave any details that was worthy of talking about. So somebody's probably watching me and my computer right now. Sorry, Cash Patel. Lily Phillips, an OnlyFans star, attempted a daring challenge to have sex with 100 men in 24 hours, documented by filmmaker Joshua Peters. Disturbed already? It gets worse. Despite achieving her goal, exceeding it with 101 men at a London Airbnb, the aftermath revealed the emotional and physical toll on her. Room was left in disarray, filled with tissues and condom wrappers, and a poignant single rose in the bed. Throughout the challenge, Lily used repetitive phrases to welcome each participant and quickly moved on to the act, discussing preferences briefly before the engagements. After completing the challenge, she emotionally shared with Josh that although she wasn't physically sore, the experience was intensely demanding and mentally exhausting. She expressed regret and unease with whether the men enjoyed the experience, feeling pressured and guilty. Despite her evident distress, she announced her intention to escalate her challenge to sleeping with 1,000 men in 24 hours, aiming to set a world record in a more controlled environment. We're moving on. We're just moving on. This is definitely much lighter, much happier, and there's a bit of a tongue in cheek in this. We think Jim Carrey is back. Jim Carrey, that guy is back with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and quips that he needs the money. Now, Carrey has confirmed his return in Dr. Robotnik. Of course, you've seen the previews for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 releasing this week or December 20th, really soon, next week. Now, despite previously announcing his retirement after the second installment, Carrey was actually geeked out about coming back for 3. Of course, he also humorously stated in the reply he's been doing in the rounds, I bought a lot of stuff and I need the money. So whether he bought a lot of stuff and needs the money is a real issue. We'll see that. But Carey will play Dr. Robotnik again, and also his grandfather, Dr. Gerald Robotnik, adding a new dimension to the storyline. So he's playing two people who are the same guy since going forward. Director Jeff Fowler noted that Carey's dual role is crucial for the film, highlighting his dedication to the project. And voices and faces in the show include Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog, Idris Elba, James Marsden, Ben Schwartz, and others for action-packed continuation of the franchise. A great step to get Carey back as he embodied the role of Robotnik into the original role and made the movie a bit of what it was. I mean, it's at what a video game that maybe 30 years old, a concept that old. I mean, it just put out the Mario movie, and so it made the big deal, but it did it by doing things differently. Sonic coming out with his own version and having a guy like Jim Carrey to voice and face the Robotnik and come back for a third shot. What should be the most daring, the most exciting version of it, bringing out the Shadow the Hedgehog character for folks who follow the game is a big deal going forward. But the fact that Carrey's doing it and coming out of retirement because he needs the money, it's both funny. It might be actually true. Let's move on to our teaser story section of the podcast. The teaser section is where we transition out of the news we just talked about. 8 stories that you thought were conversational. Yes, you thought OnlyFans and having lots of sex was conversational. I regret putting it in there, but I also had to talk about it. This is a story that we may talk about later on tomorrow because we'll give you today to engage in it. Like it, love it, hate it, share it by seeing it on our feeds on Facebook, X, and Threads. Facebook.com/This Is Conversation Project. X.com/TH_conversation. And on Threads, you can find us. We'll see what we can say about it. Threads.net/@TH or @This Is Conversation. What you will find at those places is every 50 minutes news stories, news articles to engage in. Here is just one of them for you to enjoy or to do a little mean emoji face if you choose. Arkansas governor calls to ban buying junk food using SNAP benefits. Let's be clear. SNAP benefits, what you get for food stamps, as you will, although they're no longer stamps, they are now basically a debit card, is used for low-income homes to get food so they can eat. The government pays for you to go get food. Now, there's various restrictions on things that you can't get, but Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders would like SNAP to cut out the fact of getting any junk food, any soda, any candy, any chips from that. The biggest issue that is buying more healthier food does cost more money, and in places where you live in food deserts and they don't have lots of food, you're kind of stuck with hot dogs and candy and chips. It is what it is. Can we talk about this? We should talk about this. We talk about the issue itself. We talk about this story in particular. You let me know by engaging the story when it posts. We'll post at about as I'm doing this live. I think about 30 minutes or so, about 6 in the 6 o'clock hour, I believe it will actually be seen. So you may have to go back looking for it if you're watching this on a replay. But should we cut SNAP benefits or should we have SNAP benefits cut back on the amount of foods you can buy, the type of foods being junk foods? You can't buy alcohol, so that's already there, but you can still buy chips and candy. Should that be disallowed? Yesterday, we teased a story about the Diddy accuser, the man who came out with this song. We talked about that one. It was very, very dark. Hopefully, you got something out of it. If you don't, engage with me in email on either the first story we may talk about, junk food and SNAP, or the Diddy accuser, or any other story. And yes, I suspect I'll get a whole lot of emails about that OnlyFans. But guess what? Enough people engaged in it, and it was a high enough engagement. That's why we post those stories. Because it's all about the clicks. Going now to our sponsor for the day, which we hopefully get clicks for, is going to be Flowers Fast. Flowers Fast is your place to get flowers fast, plus other gifts via the magic of FTD. FTD Floral Service can get your flowers to your destination same day on an early order, and they're great, beautiful bouquets and very beautiful things. You can't see this in the image we have right here. We didn't change the image up. The only thing that changes for Flowers Fast is essentially they'll change the bouquets so much and the banner in the middle. So we left it generic. They have the banner in the center right now that's focusing on Christmas style things, gifts, and flower occasions. So if you want to send something to a friend, a family member, or a client that is a bit of holiday cheer, you might want to use Flowers Fast. They can get you to them quick, and they'll get you very inexpensively. And of course, snacky goodies, which we're talking a lot about, are great. They have cookie batches for get well soon and new baby arriving, and just congratulations. Plus, they are really pushing those fudge covered Oreos right now that everyone's seeing online. So check it out, and their holiday themes, so you can get in for the holidays or whatever theme you want to, just regular themed. Great price, great for us because if you get that great price, it costs you nothing more for us to get a small chip off that as commission. So go to our website, thisconversationproject.com, and visit the sponsors page for more sponsors. Directly visit Flowers Fast at thisconversationproject.com/flowers fast. This conversationproject.com/flowers fast. And we get, as I said, a small commission from anything you buy via our sponsors. We appreciate it, and we believe we'll be good stewards of your money. So give us a shot. Help us grow the Conversation Project and other more better media platforms with your submissions via commissions. Quick shout out to us. The Conversation Project lives online at this is conversationproject.com. And where you can find us, you can see many more calls to actions, a sponsorship page, a partnerships page, links to other past news articles, links to what we're all about, our origin story, and of course, links to everywhere we are, all the different places, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram. You can find links to something that's a bit more meaningful, something that's more in your wavelength if this is not it. Plus, we ask that you email us as well, along with checking us out by visiting our feeds. We talked about the feeds already. The email one more time, the conversation inbox at gmail.com. If you email me and talk about stuff, we'll talk about it. You don't have to be a partner to get access to me. Just send me an email. We read them all. We consider them all. We don't answer them all because sometimes you guys are just trolling. And we're all done for Thursday, the 12th of December, 2024. This is Jake Living Payne wrapping up on this edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Thank you for everybody who popped in live, you live actual people, and the bots as well. We love bots. Bots make it look like they're here. And so while Elon says he's killed the bots, they're not responding. So I'm assuming the bots are here for OnlyFans. We'll see in the replies and soon. We'll see what happens in your replies and your work to help us keep things going by going to our feeds and telling those stories we talk about. I'm pretty sure we'll be free and clear of anything weird and sexually explicit. But we don't know. We got a full 24 hours to get to. But we have one more edition, 8 stories to recover for your Friday. And of course, prepping for the weekend edition with the weekly wrap up and other great things coming up. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. If you're watching me live in about 5 minutes, you'll see a little extra conversation come down your feed. If you're not watching me live, it'll be there somewhere as well. Check it out. It's an off the beaten path sort of survey thing. And I believe we actually are going into the dirty bits again today. So we're not escaping it. I apologize. It just was one of those things. Love you. Mean it. We'll see you again for a Friday edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard.